Hello everybody, my name is Anne Russell and I'm from the Russell Family Fetal Alcohol Disorders Association. The RFF-ADA is a national organisation that supports parents and carers of children or adults with FASD. I've been streaming a series of live videos on various aspects of FASD, and I'm hoping that it'll make it easier for people to find the information they need rather than trolling through a whole heap of information to find one thing. So this week I've been asked to talk about adults with FASD for adults with FASD. If you need any more information than what I've given, I think I'll do a second part to this because it's quite a big issue. And in this particular video, I'm only going to talk about some of the issues that you might find difficult. But also we've got a surprise guest speaker, and we'll be doing it in a very non-technical way. Yeah, won't be about halfway through it, and we'll add a guest speaker to this one. So there are many adults living with prenatal alcohol exposure who understand their condition and what it does to their brain. In fact, there are quite a number of people with FASD, especially in the United States and Canada, who are regularly asked to deliver training and presentations on FASD for doctors and caseworkers, so these professionals can better understand what you guys go through each day. In Australia, some adults with FASD have participated in videos and television programs, training sessions, and more recently the Four Corners program called The Hidden Harm. While there are people with FASD who can manage their condition well and explain it to others, it is more common to find that people with FASD find it very difficult to fully understand the nature and their condition, why they have it, and what their own strengths and flaws are. Some aren't able to express how they're feeling and how different their brain is to a neurotypical brain. If you are an adult with FASD watching this video, but you're finding it too long to take in all at once, once it's finished live streaming, you'll be able to pause it, take a break, and then come back to it. So earlier this week, my son Seth agreed to talk about what it's like for him as an adult with FASD. Unfortunately, while he did try, he wasn't able to express how he actually feels about it. He's very much aware that this inability to express himself, combined with impulsivity and concrete thinking, do cause problems for him, particularly when he is trying to get a service provider to help him. If your prospective case manager asks you how you feel about having someone looking after you when the wheels fall off, how would you respond? The first part of that sentence, where you're asked to express how you feel, is hard because you don't always know how you feel, or at least how to express how you feel. But when it's combined with an abstract concept like when the wheels fall off, it makes it really hard for a person with FASD to answer. If you have problems understanding what people are saying, tell them that you don't understand what they're saying. You can even tell them that you have a disability that makes understanding things really difficult. And that's a very important part of being able to advocate for yourself. Finally, Seth thought it would be better if he talked about the strategies he uses to prevent himself getting too stressed. Stress is one of the things that causes him to become overwhelmed, which then causes confusion and anxiety, which then causes depression and anxiety. His strategies don't always work, but he has them, and for that, I think he's done very well. He's getting better at them, and the time between his good feelings is getting shorter because of the strategies he uses. So let's hear from Seth now. We're going to do it in a very non-technical way, I'm afraid. Seth isn't here with me at the moment, but his video is.
Hello, I'm Seth. I've been asked to explain how my brain makes things difficult for me with everyday life. I don't know how to sort of explain it too well. but I know my brain always thinks things that I don't necessarily want to think. It always seems to find negatives with everything and very rarely finds any positives. Constantly keeping me depressed and suicidal. I've found that if I can stay busy and be doing something productive, it keeps my mind at bay. It keeps me thinking about that thing that I'm doing to keep busy. And in doing that, I don't think so much about the depression and the suicide and the negative stuff and things like that. I concentrate on the thing that I'm working on for that day. I can keep busy, but if it's not something, like if I can't have anything to show for it, it sort of doesn't work as well. Whereas as an example, if I'm building something and I've finished something and I have something there to show for me being busy for the day, that works a lot more than if I'm just running around town doing errands or something.
Seth, what happens if you don't have anything to do during the day?
Usually, if I don't have anything to do, I will just sit, watch TV, and just my mind will just go over and over and over with all the negatives, all the depression, the suicide, everything like that. It will find and bring up things that from years ago, or could have been a couple of days all the way up to years ago, of things that really don't mean anything. But my mind will bring up the negative parts of that, and I'll start feeling upset with that, or maybe start feeling lonely or depressed, and it's very hard to come out of that once I'm in that zone, so to speak. It's difficult to come out of it. Usually, like sometimes I just feel like I want to sleep for months and months just to get by for another couple of months without having to feel things. So I have found that keeping busy and actually having something to show for it is a pretty good way of staying content, so to speak.
Well, thank you, Seth. I'm sorry, everybody, about the lack of technical expertise to have that properly streamed to this thing, but yeah. And I think because Seth did such a good job, I think we'll see if he's interested in doing more on this subject, because I have been having contact with quite a number of adults with FASD, and there's absolutely nothing for people for adults with this condition. And if a mother goes into an appointment with her adult son, they don't really take either of us seriously. So it's interesting to hear that Seth's brain does things that are often found in other people with FASD. For example, Seth has trouble planning his day, and for him, 2 unplanned days in a row can cause him to become miserable or depressed, or even suicidal, as he says. If you are an adult with FASD, your brain will be different to other brains or other people's brains for the rest of your life. Some things may become easier for you as you get older, and you might find things that you are good at that you didn't even know you were good at when you were young. Based on the answers that other adults with FASD have given to a variety of questions I've asked over the years, it is likely that you will have trouble with some or all of these, or you may not have any trouble with them at all. But generally speaking, it's possible you will have trouble with the following things. Remembering things. Your brain will work one day but not the next day. Telling people how you feel, as we've just talked about. Telling people why you did something. Distracting sounds and activities. or sounds and activities will distract you from doing things that you want to concentrate on. Understanding what people are trying to tell you, understanding what ownership means, figuring out abstract sayings like when the wheels fall off. You may also have trouble with knowing how to act around people, knowing whether your friends are being good friends or if they're teasing you. You may become stressed and angry if your daily routine changes. Being on the time for appointments and saving up money for when things get difficult. You may have trouble when certain things happen, and then it makes it hard for you to understand your anger. You may get angry if the police come for any reason. You may get angry at your parents or your children or your friends. You may have trouble with certain foods, noises or smells, and how they taste, sound or smell. You may prefer fast food because you know exactly what a Big Mac is going to taste like. That doesn't mean that you should eat it because it's not good for you. You do need to eat very good, healthy food. If your medical condition wasn't diagnosed when you were younger, you may have additional problems, other conditions like drug and alcohol addiction, a mental illness such as depression or anxiety, or you may want to leave school before you finish year 12. Or you stop feeling comfortable at school and then that causes you to not want to live with your parents, and you may feel trapped but you don't know what to do about it and you don't know why. Because one thing sort of leads to another, but it's really hard to pick. So what are the most difficult issues to manage? Well, you know what? I think that we will talk about this next week. And we will talk about some of the things that other people with adults do to help them through the issues that I've just talked about. This was a big issue and I knew it was going to be a big thing. And if there's anybody listening who is an adult with FASD and they would like to participate in this and talk about the issues that they're having and how they've managed, like Seth, I would be very interested in talking to you or doing a video, and that way we'll get the information from the source, from the people who are really having trouble. And I'd really like that to happen because I can only talk about the things that I've read in books and the things that I've experienced with 2 children with FASD. So yeah, so if there is anybody, we're very happy for that to happen. Thank you, Sue and Dev. Great to have you on. And we'll be here next Friday. Thank you.